Hi, it's Andrew Huffer here. Thanks for joining me for this short presentation. Today I want to give you some short tips on developing your strategy for community engagement, helping you to understand the people you're dealing with, and then look at tailoring your engagement process accordingly. So why should you listen to me? Well, I've got 19 years experience in facilitation and community engagement across Australia. This includes 12 years in my own consulting business based here in Perth. Recently, I've been involved in facilitating a tripartite group and stakeholder reference group in the mining industry, as well as reviewing the engagement processes of government agencies. So let's get into the first part of the presentation in developing your strategy. My belief is that we need to aim to create dialogue and opportunity for shared decision making in any process. That is, giving people the opportunity to be involved and let them make the choice as to how they want to do that. One of the key points here is making it clear right up front about what's on the table and what's not, what can be negotiated and what can't be. And this final point is looking at their decision making. And to do this, I use a tool called the IAP2 Public Participation Spectrum. So what this is about is it sets out quite clearly the defined levels of participation and engagement in any process. And it helps stakeholders to understand their level of influence. So by here, if you look at the screen now, you can see in those promises to the public, it shows quite clearly what's going to happen in terms of the process. So from the informed stages, we'll let you know what's going on. We'll keep you informed. Next, moving to the consult stage, it's about saying, we'll get your feedback. At the involve stage, and saying, we'll get your feedback and we'll be incorporating it and letting you know how much it's influenced the final decision. Then we move into the higher levels of participation, which is collaborate and empower. And at collaborate level, it's really taking your advice on to the maximum extent possible and incorporating that. At the empower stage, it's really about, we'll give you the tools and implement what you decide. My suggestion here is to write down this website reference and go and check it out for some really valuable information on community engagement. So let's think about the people we're dealing with. There's a whole range of ways we can get to understand people's concerns. One way I've done it was working on a project which was looking at the World Heritage listing of the Ningaloo Marine Park and Reef. There's been quite a bit of controversy around that project, and to identify stakeholder concerns, we went and looked at the minutes from a major public meeting held up at Exmouth. Through doing this, we're able to identify 6 core areas of concern for the community potentially affected by the World Heritage listing. With those concerns identified, we're able to tailor our engagement process to address these so that people understood the proposal and how it affected them. Then they could make some decisions. Some other ways to do this is to put yourself in people's shoes. For example, if I was a local business owner in that scenario, what would my concerns be about the proposal? Some other questions to consider here are questions like, what should stop? What should stay the same? And what needs to change? So that could either be about the current environment before the proposal even comes to life, or about what the future environment might be, thinking about what should stop, what should stay the same, and what needs to change. That'll also start to give you some insights into the community's wants and visions for the future as well, and that can provide some really good value-adding opportunities. So in terms of tailoring your engagement activities, the things I think we need to remember that, like us, people are busy. They've got lots going on. They've got businesses to run, community groups that they're involved in, and kids that they're looking after. So we may need to think about, do we need a short event, a long event? What time of day is best for the people involved? Should it be in business hours? Should it be after hours? Should it be on weekends? Should it be a breakfast event? Thinking about what's best for our target audience. And when it comes to the crunch, when we're actually out there doing the engagement processes, my suggestions are, don't be scared, be open. So be responsive to community concerns, to community complaints, to community wants and needs. Make sure you have a quick turnaround time with any questions or concerns. The other critical thing I reckon we need to focus on is understanding where people go for their information. Is it to the letterbox? Is it to the newspaper? Is it to the radio? Is it online? And with either of those, we need to make sure we're providing information about the proposal to them in an understandable format. One of the things I've seen in the last 18 months specifically is that opponents are better at this than proponents. I've been involved in a couple of controversial type projects, and what I've seen is opponents get themselves organised very quickly, they get information out really well, and they target their audience. In doing that, I'd suggest you look at online options. It's obviously a growing media, it's obviously an area where people go for their information, and some people do it really well with websites. My suggestion is going to the next step and thinking about things like Facebook and Twitter. In doing that, sure, you're going to cop some criticism, sure, you're going to have less control over the process, but if the aim is to create dialogue and opportunity for shared decision making, then these are both great tools to get information out there and get some discussion going. So overall, I think our role is to help people understand the change that they're facing, the impacts of what that change may be, and what can be done about it. So in any community engagement process, there are things we need to be looking at. In terms of turning it from a one-night stand to a long-term relationship, I believe we need to stick to our commitments. So if we've said we'd provide information at a certain time, we need to have that in place. If we said we'd hold a meeting at a certain time, we need to have that in place. I think there's also opportunities to value add for the future as well, to get some quantitative and qualitative measures of the impact of the change that's being proposed. Look at that from both a social and environmental perspective. This will help you in future processes and also provide you with some verifiable information as well. This has been a very short presentation, a bit of introduction. I've got more information available in the resources section of my website, and I'd welcome any calls or emails that you want to get in touch with me to ask further questions. Thanks for your time and good luck.